Hey, everybody, it's Eric J. Olson, and we have a special live edition of the Managing Partners podcast. So today is our first international guest. So I am very happy to welcome Jose from Mexico City. Hey, Jose, how's it going?
Hi, Eric. Thanks for the invite. I'm doing great. Thank you.
All right. So this is the first for us international interview that we've done, and I have a couple of questions about that. What it's like to kind of be a managing partner in Mexico and Mexico City, just because I frankly am not that aware of it, and I see some things on your website and your marketing that were kind of a surprise to me. But before I ask those questions, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, first of all, thank you again for the invite. I'm honored to be here and to be your first international guest. I'm a lawyer that has been working for 15 years, mostly in transactional matters, doing M&A, financings, capital markets. In Mexico, due to the size of the market, we lawyers are not that specialized as in the US. So I have a more broad areas of expertise. And I during my career, I had the opportunity of also working in the US for a New York firm, which name is Proskauer Rose. I was there for almost 2 years. I also did my LLM in the US, in Chicago, in Northwestern. And I also did a postgraduate studies at business administration at Kellogg in Northwestern as well. That's for me. As for the firm, Gonzalez Calvillo is a firm that has 35 years in the market. We're a full service firm with a transactional core. We are currently 21 partners and more than 180 people that work for us, which is kind of big for Mexican standards. Of course, not for New York standards, where you have firms over 1,000 people, but for Mexico is very big. So that's on me and Gonzalez Calvillo.
That's awesome. So yeah, a couple questions that I had is obviously you're in Mexico, but you speak very good English. How did that come about? I think you did a good job explaining that. You did a lot of studying in the United States, so that makes a lot of sense. But one of the things that I noticed when I went to your website is that it's 100% in English. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I saw an option to change the language. It's just English, and that kind of surprised me. I did not expect that. What is kind of the rationale there with having an English language website in Mexico City?
Right. We do have a Spanish version,
Gotcha.
so that people know. But I can tell you that probably more than 50% of our business has to do with cross-border transactions, where you have, of course, to use the English, which is sort of a universal language to communicate abroad. And many of our clients are based in the US or are US firms doing cross-border deals in Mexico, or Mexican companies doing cross-border deals in the US. So that's why the English is so important for Gonzalez Calvillo and for our marketing, because our client base is English speaking. A lot of our client base is English speaking.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, great. I definitely want to dive into that a little bit more, and towards the end of the interview, about the marketing and how you go about doing that. But first, I wanted to kind of find out if you see any trends developing on the horizon when it comes to your law practice, the legal industry in general, or in Mexico. And, it could be from a legal perspective, financial, technological, but yeah, what kind of trends do you see affecting the legal industry?
Right. Well, I think the pandemic came to change everything, not only in the legal industry, but everything in the world. The legal industry is not the exception. So, of course, the telepresence or the teleconferences is definitely a trend. I don't see, people going back to physically meeting unless it is absolutely necessary. So those trips to New York or from New York to Mexico or all of that, I think, is dead. No, there will still be some meetings that have to be done in presence, but I think the vast majority of it will be through teleconference. I think it's safe. I think it's very convenient, less costly for the clients, and it works great. All these platforms that you have simply work great, and it's simply not worth the cost, the time, and everything that the physical meetings imply. The other trend I would mention is the office space. I think we lawyers have found out that we can be very, very efficient in our industry in working remotely. So I think there will be a significant reduction of office spaces in many industries, and the legal industry is not the exception. I see people still going to the office, but more to an open space platform where you maybe book your desk or you book your office in advance for a period of time, only if you need to be there. But you definitely the remote work or the work from home or remote work will remain, no, at least in our industry. Of course, there are other industries that do not fall in that, but the legal industry certainly, and on the transactional part of it, I think more. And generally, the third thing I would mention is technology in general. I think this pandemic made us take a step forward very quickly towards technological platforms. So artificial intelligence, electronic signatures, all those type of things are the future. And if the pandemic haven't been here with us, probably we would have taken more time to get there. But this was a fast forward towards that, and I think all the firms worldwide, and it's not our exception, are looking into all of these technologies to make, again, ourselves more efficient and our services more attractive for the clients.
Yeah, it's interesting because before the pandemic, almost all of these technologies were available. And if you used them at that time, then you were kind of different, right? So like electronic signatures, right? It's been around for years, but not everyone embraced it. So if you did, you kind of set yourself apart. Or having remote meetings. It's been around for many, many years. If you did that, then you were kind of the exception. Of course, it happened a little bit here and there, but if you did it a lot, you were the exception. It seems like after the pandemic, it's going to actually reverse, right? Because everyone's going to be doing those things, electronic signatures, remote meetings. But if you take the time to say, like, go out of your way and travel to see someone in person, now you're the exception, right? That's a way to stand out from the crowd.
Correct. I fully agree with that view, Eric.
Yeah. So seems like an opportunity to kind of do something the old way in the future. Yeah. What used to be the normal way back in the past. If you do that now in the future, then you'll set yourself apart. So interesting there. Well, cool.
Right.
How do you go about getting clients? You're targeting clients, or not targeting per se, but you're trying to attract clients. It sounds like both in the United States and in Mexico, usually for cross-border trade and things like that. But how do you go about getting those clients?
I think the best marketing lawyers can do are their work. Actually, if you provide high quality services, you start getting the phone calls. That's key in the legal practice. So that's fundamental, no? Also, in addition or accessory to this, we try to maintain relationships with U.S. firms by sending our attorneys to work with them for a period of time, sort of as ambassadors, no, if you
Oh,
will.
wow.
And so most of our attorneys in the transactional practice are US educated, so they have normally an LLM from a university in the US. And then some of them, or most of them, get the opportunity to work with a US firm with which we have a relationship. So that enables us to have different relationships with US firms, so that when their clients demand for services in Mexico, they call us, or vice versa. And also, when our attorneys deal with these US clients or these US firms, they know the culture because they have lived in the US, and they know the way Americans work, right? Because they have also worked in the US. So I think that's something we have done great in terms of strategy. And of course, in terms of marketing, and I know we're going to touch on this later, but I mean, in the past, as you said, pre-pandemic, we tried to do a lot of marketing events or forums in the US or involving US persons physically, no? Now we're shifting towards webinars, and electronic conferences. Of course, social media is key nowadays, so we try to be very active and innovative in terms of social media. And of course, maintain a fresh image, the name, the logo, the website. We take that very seriously, and actually we have spent a lot of money in getting great results on that front as well. So it's a combination of everything. For me, being the principal thing, the quality of the work, no. But then, if you do have the quality of the work and combine these other factors, the relationships with mainly with U.S. firms, the major investments in your website, in your logo, in your image, a good marketing team that adequately handles social media. When all of that comes together, it enables you to get new business.
I love the strategy of having your new lawyers, sounds like, or junior lawyers, go to the United States, work side by side with some of your referral partners, right? These are other lawyers you work with or legal partners. Great training for them, for your attorneys. And it's great marketing, right? Because now they're, the folks that you want, you're hoping will send work your way. They know you. They know someone personally who's been working out of the office for, sounds like, a couple of weeks. That's really smart. Have you always done that, or is that something that's relatively new?
No, that's something that has been done for Mexican big firms for a lot of time. Let me just say, they're not junior lawyers. They're actually like mid-level. They normally are lawyers that have been with a Mexican firm for 5 years, and they have to be good lawyers, right? Because they will be representing you. So they have to be what some people call partnership material. And also these programs last. U.S. firms, New York firms have these programs very well established for many years. These programs last like they can last from 10 to 12 months, where the
wow.
attorney lives there. In my personal case, I was able to extend that to almost 2 years. But it's a fair amount of time, and it has been around for a while, many years. So,
That's
for
really
instance, I worked in New York in 2010, so 11 years ago. So
Yeah, that's really interesting. I really like that concept, and it makes a lot of sense for you, especially since you're doing the cross-border transactions. Interesting. With things kind of starting to, first of all, actually in Mexico City, how is the coronavirus? Is it kind of subsiding? Are people getting the vaccines? Are they opening things back up?
You know, in on developed economies it was different, you know, because there's a lot of informal businesses, and I mean, the government can't actually close them. So Mexico was never closed in that way, if you will. The virus is a problem in Mexico. It hasn't been, you know, very well handled. Vaccination, you know, hasn't been very well organized. So, you know, things are going as life goes, but you know, we're not a world example of how to handle the pandemic. But you know, on the bright side, many people are getting vaccinated abroad, and I think that would allow for a path forward. But yeah, unfortunately we're not doing as good as we would like to.
Okay. Well, it seems like certainly in the United States, I'm sure you're well aware, sees the end of this coming up relatively soon, and maybe months, but probably not years, as far as how it's been the last year. And in Mexico City, it sounds like, you know, there's going to be some progress for sure. But you know, as the world kind of transitions out of this and into, you know, what's coming up next, how do you kind of see like your marketing, you know, website, social you've mentioned, how do you see those things kind of changing, if at all, because of the way that the world is changing?
Well, I talked a little bit about this already in other contexts, but again, I think, you know, a lot of physical marketing was made in the past, you know, where you invited your clients to hear about a trending topic, a legal reform. We used to do, for example, as a firm, a sort of a get together with New York firms once a year. No, it was a big event where 70 to 100 people came together to meet and greet. I think all of that is over, and will be the exception, no? As we were mentioning.
Yeah.
And you know, everything is shifting towards, you know, doing these things but through the media. So if you ask me what has changed more, I would say the webinar activity in law firms has been crazy, you know. So every day, you know, you get invites to webinars to talk about trending topics. You know, what we're doing now is a very good example. So I guess you know, the shift would be from the physical meetings to these digital meetings that sometimes are more efficient in many ways, and of course all the technology and the electronic media will continue more than ever to have a huge importance in the developing of the business, right? So social media maybe wasn't that important pre-pandemic, at least in Mexico, for firms, no. Nowadays, I think is key. No, it's strategic to have a good management of social media and good content out there,
Yeah.
right? The website, I think, will remain pretty much the same. You need to maintain a fresh image, though. I think that's very important, and always make sure that you have good content for your targeted public. No.
Makes a lot of sense. Yep. Well, Jose, I really appreciate your time. If someone wants to reach out to you, what is a good way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, my email is jrivero@gcsc.com.mx. And thank you, Eric. This was a great chat. I'm honored to be your first international guest, and I hope to keep in touch. And thanks very much for this opportunity.
Well, thank you as well. And if you could just hang on 1 minute, for anyone who is watching and you are looking to improve your law firm marketing, then reach out to us at arraylaw.com. We are Array Digital, and we focus on things like websites, SEO, social media, and online advertising. All right, Jose, again, appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. Bye-bye.
Bye.